Good morning. It's a wet, cold morning, and I'm at the entrance of Belvoir Estate on the edge of Belfast. I taught an awful lot of the kids that came from this estate, and they were generally speaking very good youngsters. And I'm just actually looking down and giving you a panoramic view of Belvoir Forest, and this is how far it stretches. Oh, there's the wind. Nice beach heads there. In the summertime this is particularly pleasant, but it's not very pleasant at the minute. This is a wildlife area that they have set aside at the entrance of the forest, the forest straight ahead there. Come and see it for yourself. Good morning. I'm just looking up at Belvoir Estate through the trees there, and this is the avenue down to Belvoir Forest. Belvoir Park Forest, home of the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. And here we have a sign actually, that's interesting. It's telling of the incidence of sudden oak death, which is affecting all the larch trees. And they've cut down thousands of trees in here just recently. Okay, it is an absolutely horrific morning. It's wet, it's windy, and it's like sleet falling. It's absolutely horrible, so I'm going to make a quick video of Belvoir Forest. Belvoir Forest opened, Belvoir Park Forest opened in 1961. And the forest area approximately covers 170 acres. So it's quite an extensive forest. It is, remarkably, it is the only working forest in Europe that is found within a city limits. That's absolutely something. So the reality is that you can walk from Belfast city centre up along the towards Stranmillis and along the towpath, and you can walk up into this forest, and you can make it actually up in about half an hour of steady walking. So it's about 3 miles out of the city centre. It's one of the few it's the only working forest in Europe that is found inside the city limits, and you can see actually some of the destruction, the necessary destruction of these cutting down the larch trees that have been infected with this disease or whatever. There's a tree down. It stretches away. They've cut thousands of trees down. So this is the avenue into Belvoir Forest. And we're now approaching the home of the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds. An awful lot of wildlife roosts in round here, and you would have got the red squirrel in good numbers, but in the last 5-6 years the greys have they've just beat them out of the place, and you'll be very, very hard put to find a red squirrel in the forest, which is sad. Perhaps the greys need culled. Again, extensive areas where the forest has been cut down. And we're looking out over towards Divis and Black Mountain out here from the forest at Belvoir. you're looking down towards the Lagan floodplain. You can just see the Lagan flowing along here. I'll try and get a better shot of it as it meanders along there. And the Lagan has a towpath there where the barges, 100 years ago used to be towed alongside the banks of the Lagan, making their way up to Lisburn and beyond. And you can see the extent of this place, it is massive all around. And just in here, maybe you can just make out the steps as I'll be going down here, is a Norman motte from the 12th century. There's so many trails and walkways and bicycle trails as well down in here. It's just a labyrinth, and this is the Norman motte I was telling you about from the 12th century. And this is one of the most famous trees in the entire forest. It's an old, looks like an old oak. And Tanya and I, whenever we were just married, we came down here to get our photographs taken of this tree. There's the daffs out. Just progressing down to the small defensive point, this motte overlooking, or motte overlooking the Lagan. And there's the Lagan down beneath us, and I've just climbed up this staircase up onto the top of this motte. And you can see, to give you a bit of a picture, a fuller picture of the size of the forest, because it is massive. And there was, up here where the cars are parked, there was the Hill family there was a domain here. It was a walled, this was all walled, and they ran this place in the 17 and 1800s, and the house in the 1900s, mid 1900s, was taken over by the army, and there was a fire and it fell into disrepair, and it was eventually blown up by the army and levelled, which was quite sad. Brilliant big house, but that's the way things go. There's an ice house away over that direction, and there's a very old graveyard as well. That's worth visiting. The ice house, you can get down into it. This is where they stored ice from the big house and cooled their drinks and all the rest of it. The aristocracy. Ah, dear. And just I've come back up from the motte down there, and a last look at Belvoir Forest and the surroundings, and the sun has made a welcome appearance, and my hands are freezing. A big pigeon flying by there. Wildlife in the park, in the forest park, a lot of jays, a lot of wood pigeons, a lot of magpies, a lot of grey squirrels. There are sparrowhawks, and there's all the forest usuals like great tits and in abundance. So that's about it. There's a few owls as well apparently. My mate saw a barn owl recently, way down in there somewhere. So that's Belvoir Forest. Many a romance struck uphill here in Belvoir Park Forest.